All right, welcome to another edition of OnPrem Pros. We are here today to talk about a customer experience. We have a customer who had an old Unity array and they're looking to do something new. They're looking to update that. It was end of sale, end of life. And so they came to us looking for a new Unity XT array. And we ended up pivoting. They ended up going to PowerStore. So this is a kind of a good story about us pitching in several options, and you'll get to hear about the business cases around why this customer made the decision to go to PowerStore. And so joining me today is Josh Moss, Tyler Young. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
And just a reminder today, the episode is sponsored by our benefactor here, xByte Technologies. So if you are in the need for any PowerStore or any hardware, check out xbyte.com. All right, so enough about the advertising. All right, let's get into the story. So this guy, Josh, you lead here. He had the Unity array we were talking about, was looking at XT. What made him pivot to PowerStore?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the customer has been a long-time Unity customer. They came to us looking to refresh their stores because the original Unity it's end of sale. You can't go out there and buy stuff and get support for it from Dell anymore. So they came to us looking for a replacement, which is the current Unity XT. So we started talking about what that would look like, in terms of storage requirements, performance requirements, how much rack power it would take to get to the goal that they wanted to hit. And in and around that, we started talking to like, hey, have you heard about PowerStore? Are you familiar with it? So we started talking about that. Showed them some of the benefits of PowerStore and how it compares to the Unity. And ultimately that's what they decided upon.
Now, this guy, I guess we can't really say their name, but it's like one of the world's largest gaming manufacturers out there, and they have locations around, so they're building that out, and they're worried about performance you're talking about. And
Yeah.
I remember you talking about, okay, with the Unity XT, it's all by itself. You can do DR with the second one, but you're really not able to kind of cluster them together. And Tyler, you were talking to us about the power of the PowerStore. Is that one of the features is that you can cluster them? How does that work?
Yeah, so typically with storage architectures, right, especially iSCSI based SANs, right, you're looking at a scale up architecture, right? You can keep adding additional drives to that array, but once you add enough drives to that array, you're essentially hitting the ceiling of what the performance that can be achieved with the controllers itself. Where PowerStore kind of changes the game a little bit is you're actually able to scale up, but you're also able to scale out, meaning that you can actually cluster up to 4 PowerStore arrays within a single cluster. And what happens is the system will automatically load balance your workloads from one to another. So you don't have to think about where you're putting the workload, but essentially that way you're ensuring that you're not hitting the ceiling of a PowerStore, right? You're essentially getting a lot more magnitude of performance out of your storage architecture.
Yeah, that was important to this guy or this company because I mean they're growing, and they knew that, hey, look, we need to watch for what's going to happen in the future. You guys were also mentioning before about the size of the storage.
Mm-hmm.
So the Unity XT, I believe, was it 11U? Josh, is that what you're saying? It was 11U. And
Yeah.
what was the PowerStore then?
Yeah, so the Unity, it was a mixture of hybrid. It was a hybrid configuration, so it had a mixture of spinning disk and flash to achieve the couple hundred terabytes usable that was required. So it ended up being 11U after the base enclosure and a few additional expansion enclosures. So that's quite a bit of rack space, quite a bit of power that's going to be consumed, all compared to a single 2U device with the PowerStore to achieve the exact same thing when it comes to usable, but also much better performance.
Now, with that PowerStore, one of the other items this customer mentioned was the fact that they wanted to eventually go all NVMe, and you're able to do that. I mean, the PowerStore, that's the only option you have is NVMe.
Yep, that's correct. So the Unity XT, it's based on SAS SSD or SAS HDD if you have a hybrid configuration, whereas the the PowerStore is only available with PCIe and NVMe disks.
Nice. And the other item one of the other items this customer mentioned was the amount of just usable space needed, and the the data reduction rate. So the D was the DRR, data reduction ratio. Sorry, the ratio between the two. Tyler, can you give us a little details about what's guaranteed between the two solutions?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Unity XT, you're actually guaranteed a 3-to-1 data reduction rate. So essentially, that means that for every 1 terabyte, or one, whatever metric you want to use, but for all intents and purposes, 1 terabyte of usable capacity equals 3 terabytes of effective. So essentially, you're getting 3 terabytes per every 1 terabyte. On the PowerStore, actually, is much better, much more efficient. There, you actually can get a 5-to-1 data reduction guarantee. And that's something where Dell is very clear out the gate of, what qualify, what data is what workloads qualify for this. It's actually a public document. If you just even Google PowerStore data reduction guarantee, right, it's a public document you can see. We can even include it in this video as well. But essentially, what that's saying is that, Dell's going to stand behind that. So for instance, we were able to, just confirm that the customer's workload, would in fact qualify for this guarantee, and we were able to save them a lot of money, because we didn't need to actually go with that end usable capacity goal that they originally had, because we could say, hey, Mr. Customer, at the very least, you're guaranteed a 5-to-1. Could be higher, but it's at least 5-to-1, and we took that into account. We're able to save them significantly amount of money there with the sizings. So yeah, it worked out really nice. And that
Nice.
uses
And
inline and dedupe compression. So
okay, nice. And as far as the workload goes,
mhm.
Tyler, I think you were one of the ones who helped review his live optics.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, live optics is a tool that you can use that Dell originally created, or still is the owner of it. But it'll look at a particular whatever your network is, look at all the servers on the network or VMs on the network, and be able to give you an idea of what resources, what capacity, what's being done on each of the boxes. So
Yeah.
Tyler, you helped look at that. What was special about this customer's workload that also made them look towards PowerStore?
Yeah. So, I mean, the customer came to us, letting us know that, he just has pretty general workloads, right? That's typically what we hear from a lot of customers, right? They have your file server, you have, some databases in there, right? Some just general purpose VMs, or, CRMs, etc. But what stood out was this customer is actually running 9 SQL databases on this array currently. So, and not only just databases and SQL alone, but any workload. If you were to take 2 customers side by side running the same applications, you're not guaranteed that it's going to be the same IO profile, right? One could be much higher in reads, the other could be, the same, or much higher on the write side. One could be, writing in 8K block, block sizes. One could be in 64 or higher. So, right, it all comes down to really what that workload entails. And Live Optics was able to kind of give us a different perspective as to what's going on under the hood. And through that, we're actually able to see that the customers' databases were actually pretty heavy on the right side of things. So, what we were able to do was we gave the customer, right? Josh mentioned earlier, we gave him, multiple options. So we did give him a Unity XT option. We wanted to see that, but for the PowerStore, there's different models, and there's the entry level model, which is the 500T, and essentially that right, that gives you all your all NVMe, all the features that you're going to need. But the higher level PowerStore models actually allow you to give up 4 of the drive bays, or 2 to 4 of the drive bays, to essentially replace that for NVRAM cache drives. And that helps on the write performance. So we're able to say, hey, Mr. Customer, we're noticing you have a lot of write performance and there's a little bit of latency on the right side. We think that you're going to be benefiting from having additional write performance, and the, having some NVRAM cache drives, should definitely alleviate that and just, help you guys, just get to the next level of performance. And when the customer saw that price difference, it was a no brainer to him. And, we were able to kind of just go with that. And yeah, so the customer actually incorporated those NVRAM cache drives.
Yeah, I know with pricing, we were surprised looking at the Unity compared to PowerStore, compared to the
Mhm.
1200T, different models, that the pricing wasn't crazy for the 1200T, the high end model, and with everything that you're getting. I mean, we talked about the 2U, the 5X dedupe, the data reduction ratio,
Mhm.
the NVRAM, the cache there to help with the write performance. A lot of great benefits, and with very comparable, if not the same, or I think less maybe, as far as the price goes. So that's awesome to see all that.
Yeah, and that also just kind of goes into just one thing that Josh and I really just, and the rest of our team here, really like to kind of, just communicate with customers, right? I mean, it's easy to say, all right, this is the solution you need, but at the end of the day, I mean, we can look at what the customer is showing us, from a workload standpoint, and what they potentially need, but we're not there day in and day out. We don't know what they need A to Z, right? We're not there every day living it like they are. So that's where we kind of like to kind of take things to the next level. Say, hey, Mr. Customer, right? Here's two different options, or here's a good, better, best option, and that's kind of what we did with here, right? We gave him the Unity XT because that is truly the the successor of the Unity that they have today, right? That's going to be that that's that good, it'll get the job done. Here's the PowerStore option, right? And here's two PowerStore options for you, and we're able to kind of give that good, better, best, and let the customer make the decision, right? We'll give them all the info necessary and say, here's what you get for this one, here's what you get for this one, here's what you get for this one, from features to expected performance, growth, etc. And we let the customer make the decision there, and that way they're comfortable and don't feel like we're just forcing them down one path. And we went to the customer with three options, and at the end of the day, he did end up going with the best of the three options. And that's something that, again, right, that's we pride ourselves on letting the customer really guide us into making that final decision.
Now, Josh, we were talking in the pre-show about the experience of the customer, that they didn't know about PowerStore. They were familiar with Unity, and that was one of the selling points, that they were really considering the Unity XT because they were familiar with the management, the GUI. How did we help them overcome that?
Yeah, exactly. As I mentioned, the customer is a long time, multiple Unity Array user, so they're very familiar with the management, but also the setup process as well. So what we did to help them, gain a better understanding of PowerStore as a product and as a management device is not only go through technical PowerPoint slides to, because the customer is really smart, very technical. They like to understand how it worked under the hood, but also going through a PowerStore UI demo that we have available as a part of our solutions lab. We've got several mini products in the Dell portfolio that we commonly use that customers like to get hands-on access to, not only from a demonstration perspective, but also from, they can run proof of concept and such. So that was definitely a big help in helping the customer make their, ultimate decision.
Yeah, and also during the pre-show you'd mentioned, we even gave him access for a couple of days, so we could get around there and without us kind of looking over his shoulder. Although we're always there for assistance, but that solution lab is key for, I mean, especially this. I mean, you're asking people to give up what they're familiar with, and so to kind of give them that confidence that, okay, yeah, I can learn this new PowerStore. It's the same. We know the surprise factor is not there, so that's great to have. So not only the expertise, but just the ability for customers to use the stuff before they buy it. And it's not just, hey, during the demo, the benefits that we have, but it's even after the sale. Josh, I know you're one of our engineers who goes on site to do the installations, and remotely as well to do installations and any of the services to our customers. What are the benefits of having us do those services at xByte versus them doing it on their own, or working with a different provider to do the services?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as I mentioned, the customer is set up, familiar with the setup of the Unity. Not being familiar with the setup process, or how the PowerStore really works underneath the hood, they're more than happy to have us help come on site and deliver the solution, install it, configure it for them, all while they're sitting there, by the side, so that way they can learn the process themselves. So in the future, if they want to acquire more PowerStores, they can do it themselves. Or if you want to realize a faster TCO, just have us come on site and do it for you. In addition to that, Tyler and I were there from day one and the pre-sales discovery process, so we're already intimately familiar with the customer, their requirements, what they're needing, what they're expecting. So it saves a lot of time going back and forth from knowledge transfers between the sales teams and the field deployment teams. So that's just kind of a better inherent value for us.
Yeah, it's a strong power from xByte, where they can have both Tyler there from a sales engineer perspective, and then you on the field services side on the call from day one. You have different perspectives on things, and then if you're from an engineering perspective, you get assigned to that customer, and you be the one who goes on site. So it's a powerful advantage, is that we don't have to, the customer doesn't have to teach the new person about what's going on. You guys, as you said, you're intimately familiar with what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, we've built rapport with the customer, so they really seem to appreciate that.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Josh, Tyler, thank you very much. We've gone in today talking about one of the world's largest gaming manufacturers. We can't say who it is, just out there, and how they made their decision to go from a Unity to an old Unity to end up going to PowerStore. So thank you guys very much for all this information. And as we said earlier, if you like what you hear and you appreciate this, please go visit our sponsor, xByte.com, and they have all things IT and hardware right there for you. So everybody, thank you very much. This is another edition of OnPrem Pros.